Hello and welcome to this exploring session, the second session that we're doing on the Bugbears by a chap possibly called Jeffere. And it's from the 1560s-ish, approximately, late 1560s probably. And we've done the first two acts, and so far it's been a bit of a hoot. The manuscript is not in the best of states. We've done a light tidy up, or Helen has done a light tidy up to get it to this reading stage. And we're going to be making endless notes as we go along to decide what we do with it in the future. So far, everyone's been enjoying themselves. If the first half or the first section that we did was a little exposition heavy, hopefully the action will now move further on with a pace and aplomb. And to deliver some of that aplomb today, we have this wonderful team of readers to work our way through Acts 3 and 4. So today, reading, opening Act 3 today, reading Squartacantino or something similar is...
Alexandra, and I wanted to raise a statue to Helen for her work thus far, having just scrolled through the rest of the text.
Reading Amadeus today is...
I am Alan Scott, based in Suffolk.
Reading Biondello today is...
Hi, I'm Lynn, coming to you from the northwestern United States.
Reading Iphigenia and Formosus today is...
Hello, I'm Helen. I'm a historian and I'm in Yorkshire.
Reading Catella and Picinino today is...
Aliki Chapple, actor, translator and theatre maker based in Lancaster in England.
That said, that's assuming that Catella actually said... Oh, actually, no, actually says something this time, didn't last time. So it's nice to give parts to that actually say something. It makes such a difference. Reading Brancatius and Tomasine today is...
I'm Lois Potter, living on a very noisy street in London. You may hear a bit of it.
Reading Trappola today is...
Steve Longstaffe, based in the northwest of the UK.
And finally, reading Cantalupo today is...
Francis, actor based in Amsterdam.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I will be reading what few stage directions there are and generally being unhelpful. So to add to that level of unhelpfulness, we're starting with a song. This may be the correct place for the song. It may not. There is always the possibility. The songs are all at the rear of the manuscript, but Helen has made the choice that it goes here, and hopefully it is going to be beautiful. Alexandra does not have to sing the song. Squartacantino, however, enters, sings, and then does a speech. Begin Act 3, Scene 1.
With great confidence that you will cut this if it goes horribly wrong. I fear mine old master shall sing this new note. No fool to the old fool when he begins to dote. He needs must be perfumed brave, with powders proud of price, with musk, with civet, and with tricks of new and rare device. With ambergris he must be grimed, such like costly gear, where I suppose a firewarm for him far fitter wear. And therefore I fear he'll sing this new note. No fool to the old fool when he begins to dote. His white beard and his golden teeth, which shiver in his head, with her white teeth and golden locks, are even as fit to wed as March with lusty May should match. Wherefore I fear me much his wooing will to wooing turn, if that his chance be such. And therefore I fear he'll sing this new note. No fool to the old fool when he begins to dote. When he begins to dote, and he with march from fish to flesh shall march in March his sign, and she with May Taurus make to Gemini resign, or plain my mind to tell when she by bearing one too many may pierce my master to the heart and give his head any. I fear mine old master shall sing this new note. No fool to the old fool when he begins to dote. Can anything be worse than to serve as I do, an old amorous knight, and a doting fool too, that goeth in his last quarter, and yet the greybeard going danceth, pranceth, and skippeth, and playeth friskily, and singeth, and fareth as he were Dame Venus titling, or as if his cold teeth in his head was yet sticking. But if you match here, there may stick in his head, though not his cold teeth, because he is overhead, yet a fair pair of homes, and I hope she will not fail for his further preferment to send him in to come whale. He sent me, even now, for some musk and some civet to make his mareship sweet. With the apothecary when I met, and asked for such trinkets for my master, thou forgett'st what thy master would have, quoth he. It were best thou bought'st him a box of unguentum album for the itch and the scabs, for that is very wholesome, and that hath he need of more than of musk and civet. Such grace very oft was he wont here to fet, but he never used musk. At the last I was fain to tell him of his wooing, to make the matter plain. When he heard it, with laughing he was ready to burst with other companions. It were not the worst if thou wilt be ruled by me to carry him, quoth he, a box of asafoetida. But at last he gave me this sweet ware to begrime our grand gosier withal. Now will I wind me home, lest if our grandsire call and miss me, he will chide, for these lovers be waspish when in Venus affairs things fall not as they wish. Yet have I further news to his fatherhood to tell, that Biondello told me of that will not please him well, as we met in the street. I believe for all this dotage, it will be a cooling card to abate the youth's courage concerning Rosimunda's disease that he feels. He told me out of doubt she is sick of 2 left heels. But, mum, who comes yonder? One of old Charon's Franions. Oh, 'tis Signor Amedeo, one of my master's pot panions.
And he exits, and once again we have a character, even though they have nothing to do with the scene that's coming up, very helpfully telling us all who's coming on stage. Very, very, that's just a kindness that such this character does. Lovely singing there. Well done. Yeah, we once again encounter Squartacantino complaining about his amorous old master, who's sent him out to get some nice stuff to make him more attractive. I'm sure it's going to be lovely. Thoughts from the room about these particular things that are going about. Alexandra, how was it for you?
I mean, it happened, and now it's permanently on the internet, so there's that. Well, because I wasn't prepared, I didn't figure out that actually I needed to match things better to how it's formatted. I hadn't noticed, but it's formatted, so I'm just going to talk about that a little bit for people who obviously won't be seeing this. So it's formatted in couplet and then a quatrain, and then couplet, quatrain, so I think the verses are even numbered. So clearly there was a structure and a system to this. I just completely ignored that. Sorry, audience.
It worked very nicely. I mean, it's interesting that again, it's this breaks in the middle of lines is a constant thing, and that's the thing is, if you hadn't noticed that in advance, you're going to trip up on it and where meaning lies. Yeah, it's sort of a return and just reminder. It's been a little while since we've met this character, and to know where they are. I'm on the I almost have an idea of some of the medicinal things I may be able to fill in on in a moment. Any thoughts in the room otherwise about this, Lynn?
Yeah, I mentioned this at the end of the session last time or something like it. This text is being really hard on the old folks. I mean, they're all on the wrong side of the of what we want for the characters. And I mean, we have this longish song about no fool like an old fool, and he goes to the apothecary and has to explain to the apothecary, no, he doesn't want stuff for his old people ailments. He's in love, and the apothecary like falls over laughing. It's like, oh yeah, we're making fun of the old folks.
Yes, and he gains a box of asafoetida, which is a resinous gum used as an antispasmodic.
And it's used very commonly as a culinary ingredient. I was cooking with it just yesterday. It's not as rare as all that, and it's usually called asafoetida in English.
What do you use it? What do you use it for in cooking?
You put a pinch of it in pulses, just a very small pinch, cooking dry beans or peas or chickpeas, anything like that.
Oh, what does it do?
It makes them taste nicer.
Oh, okay.
You can't tell. It has a very strong smell, and you don't taste it at all in the food. But if you compare a bowl of lentils made with it and a bowl of lentils made without it, the one made with it is tastier. Go figure.
We have this gunge, which is expected to be added, given to this chap, to begrime our grand gosier withal. So the way it's presented, presumably, is it's goo in the way it is.
Yeah. Since I'm on the ingredients, we have both musk and civet, both of which are extracts from the posterior glands of various animals, and which are rich in pheromones and supposed to attract the opposite sex. They're ingredients, artificial versions mostly now, are still ingredients in many perfumes and colognes.
Yes, lovely. We don't get the Alexandra.
So I'm concluding from Aliki's wonderful explanation there that that part of the joke is he's been sent to buy things that smell nice but come from an unpleasant place, and he's being given something that is just a plant or just a resin, but smells horrendous.
Well, it depends whether there's a rhyme element of as because it could be arse, that's a possible there. But if it was a John Hayward play, it definitely would be, which seems to be an influence in places in this potentially of elements of this play. At least that's my theory, running theory so far. I'm going to look for more evidence as that as we go. Other additional thoughts? Helen.
Rosamunda's disease. She is sick of two left heels. The only place you get two left heels is if there are two bodies. Is he suggesting that she might be pregnant?
He's a servant, so he should know these things, shouldn't he?
She told him, according to his speech, and I wonder if she made that joke. I was thinking of round heels, which it would be the modern equivalent, or maybe not so modern. You tip over backwards easily if your heels are too round, you see.
Alexandra.
I was taking that much more innocently. I thought she can't dance.
We do know that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Yes, in fact, there was a line yesterday of someone going to knock her up. Helen doesn't think that was the slang usage was
well, I haven't heard it. I haven't heard it, but it's perfectly possible it may be. This play is an absolute mass of words that I've never heard of before.
Yes, there's a lot of editorial work that at some point will be done, and which this is the beginning. We're at the sharp end of the spear, people. We're in the spearhead. Okay, we're going to move on to Act 3, Scene 2, which opens with Amadeus making a bit of a speech act, and there will be the entrance of Brancatius and Cantalupo later on. So, Amadeus.
Tristitia Venstra, I find it true today. I must trust to myself and do the best I may. In mine own affairs, for help I get elsewhere. I made moan to Cantalupo, who scant would give an ear, but hearken to my talk, or abide my half-tale told. I know why it is, the hotty-totty be old, yet he wooeth a young wife, that enchanteth out his wit. He can listen to nothing while he's in his fit. I see love is blind, yet I thought that our amity, sith through our children's marriage we enter in affinity, would have moved him to take some compassion of my case, and to help me with his counsel. But all this took no place in his extravagant head. From him straight I went to my confessor, to entreat him some remedy to invent against these wicked sprites. He read me epistle, and told a long round about not worth a whistle. That it was God's own punishment for my sinful life gone. He wished me to leave my covetise, and bade me put on a new man and lead a new life. And then soothly, God will put up his rod and be no more angry. And these sprites we fled, as though that my covetise, which is counted now good husbandry, seemed ill in God's eyes. Would he have kept me nothing against a rainy day? I know God would not so, whatsoe'er he do say. But set by both these ways, no gain to me doth arise. I'll see what good help this astronomer will devise. Hath Biondello brought him yet? I will see if they be here. I will knock, for alone I dare not go near. Among the cursed fiends, how ho! Who's in the house? Not a word. What's the matter? That all is hushed thus? Yet again, who is within? They are not returned yet. I marvel where they are. I will knock another fit. No point speak. What ho? Not a word? This is marvellous. Beyond is Cantalupo, and with him comes Brancatius, and I am sorry for my sweetheart, but I hope she shall do well. What is her disease, I pray you? Can you tell?
Partly the green sickness, a preparative to the dropsy, but her greatest disease is a spice of the tympany, as my wife doth inform me.
In what part lies her sickness?
In her belly, most of all, which is swollen in great bigness.
What might be the cause?
A distemperature of the liver, which bred of the dregs of an evil-cured fever.
Well, I hope of amendment, and I wish it very soon, that our marriage and my daughters may one day both be done. For I sit all on thorns till the matter take effect, the while for good physic see you do not neglect, though I bear the whole charge.
I do purpose this evening to have her to our farm, for they tell me the changing of the air will do her good.
I wish it to be so.
But I long much to hear how the matter doth go with my neighbor, Amadeus. You told me a thing touching sprites in his house, which hath bred me some wondering. Well met, Amadeus. 'Tis said that sprites do walk o' nights in your house. Is it so?
I would it were not. These 2 nights together they frighted me. I wot almost out of my wit.
Good Lord bless us all. This is the strangest case that ever I heard befall. In what sort do they trouble you?
Even over my head, they so trample and turmoil when I'm laid in bed, and shake their ugly chains, and roar and yell and cry, and run as for fear in my bed dare I lie. My soul for stalk fright dare not sleep within the house, but hath got him to lie with our neighbour Camillus.
And have you no help?
I look for a cunning man that hath promised my son to do the best he can, to rid our house of them, for during this stir, I dare not for my life peep my head within the door. Yet once I was wont to laugh at such nicety, and think it old wives' tales and lies and mere vanity. But what are they yonder?
The one is your Biondello.
Then the other in the ground is the astronomer. I believe it's so.
And yes, we have marked a scene change, but it's the scene change of more people entering onto this scene. But we'll pause here for a moment to get a little bit of a sense of this. Lots of interesting questions thrown up with that. Amadeus' speech is full of little dynamic moments. It's he goes in, he's knocking, he's pausing, he's waiting, it involves business. Which, for future reference, a few notations in the script to help negotiate that. And then we get this lovely little, as they enter, discussion from Brancatius and Cantalupo about what's wrong with his daughter, and it's distemperature of the liver, her belly, spice of the tympani. And a timpani used frequently, actually, as a synonym for a pregnant woman. And as my wife doth inform me. So clearly his wife knows what's going on. And he does not at all. All sorts of interesting things there. And Amadeus filling us back in again on some of the things that are happening in his life. So it does keep giving us little nuggets just to keep us aware of where we are with the plot, which is helpful, I think, especially for newbies today. Thoughts from the room about this little exchange, the Amadeus' speech?
Well, it's the first extended piece that I've hit in this play, and I didn't find it that easy to navigate. I think punctuation is one of the areas we've certainly got to look at just to try and improve the shape a bit.
Yeah, I know. I think we know there's a lot of text work to be done. But yeah, in terms of what's going on, we did have a question in the chat. I don't know if Helen might be able to give us more on this. We do have the though the hotty totty be old, whether there's is that hoity-toity, or is it any thoughts in the room about what that should be or is? I mean, it's a really interesting turn of phrase for the period. I'm very curious about it. Alan.
Well, I would have thought that it's come down as the expression of hot totty. The sort of Sloane Ranger girls that Boris was prolific in chasing.
But no, it can't be, because it's referring to a man here. I mean, it's just one of these. He's hot. He's in love. He's keen. He's hot. But and then so he's a hottie, and then totty rhymes with it. I think that's what you've got there.
Stephen.
Would it be a bit of sort of cod Italian?
Might
be. Hotty totty.
Like tutti frutti, huh?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, really.
Okay. Other thoughts anyone wants to throw in at this time? Otherwise, we'll continue on with the scene as new people enter. Nobody speaking up, so we go to down as Act 3, Scene 3. Various people are entering the room. One is your Biondello, and the other in the gown is the astronomer, I believe. So let's see what happens in this particular little situation as Trappola and Biondello enter.
What are those that stand there?
Marry, one of these three is my master that we go to.
Biondello, is that he that my son told me of?
The very same.
Master Doctor, double welcome. Trust me, there's none that came to my house this good while better welcome than are you.
Are you he that is troubled with shadows?
Too true.
I am sorry for your annoy, but fear not of the remedy.
Master Doctor, I commit myself to you wholly, and I pray you show your cunning.
You shall not need to stand to utter me your case. Your son has done your errand so that naught is required, but that you take the care to provide all those things that hereto needful are, and to do that I prescribe. And I will bring to pass to warrant you your house clean, dispatched as ever it was. And till my feet be wrought, I will look for no hire.
What will you have then?
Nothing will I require, but sith you are a gentleman, I will stand to your courtesy. To such as you are, I'll do more for love than money. I love not to indent with such as you be.
I trust I will please how say you. Seems to me by his look a worthy man.
I take him for such.
And I promise you, his fashion doth please me very much.
Oh, sir, you would wonder what miracles I did hear of those that did know him. In Orleans this other year, and in Paris, what a cure he did on the French king. I would have said the queen, how he brought down her teeming.
Oh, is he then a physician? Oh, I have a sick daughter.
I will first dispatch this, then I'll hearken to you after.
I promise you, Master Doctor, his daughter is my wife. I mean, she shall be so, if God lend me life. If you set her on foot and make her whole again, I will double, double, double consider your pain.
You shall say I'll deserve it.
Master Doctor, first with me, I pray you begin, that my friends here may see some show of your great skill.
Before I can venture to do anything, first in talk I must enter at home with my familiar.
How soon will you do so?
As near as it is before dinner will I go and bring a perfect answer.
Then remember me too, for my daughter with one labor, both these things you may do.
Yea, I pray you forget not, she's well worth your coming.
You shall know all and more with speed at my returning. Yet one point for your learning I will teach you ere I go. These spirits are of sundry natures.
Be they so?
Some are of the fire, and some of the air, some watery, some earthly, and some golden and fair, some like unto silver, some leaden, and of every metal, and they have sundry names by which we do them call. Some are called Folletti, Foraboschi, Forasiepi, that is, wood creepers, hedge creepers, and the white and red fairy.
What a rabblement is there!
Some lovely and amiable, some fellowly and friendly, some constant, some mutable, of hills, woods, and dales, of waters and of brooks. We, cunning in that art, can ken them by their looks.
Jesu God, where you can!
Some fauny, some satyri, some nymphi, hamadryads and dryads that are sly, pucks, puckerels, hobhowled, bygone, and Robin Goodfellow.
Oh God, what is it that this man doth not know?
Ye be bold, neither Boldus nor Bartolus hath this skill.
Ye have heard nothing yet.
Then are there of the hill that be called dark shadows, as Gundus, Aegipius, Chichiface, and beareth Phalacororarx, and Sir Satanas, Gnar, Frar, Lar, Vrigo, saws and boars and paws, and mighty Moors that confoundeth the cause. Locobalus, Marcolapus, Gibbal, Hubal, Scent and Garrett.
God, save us from harm.
Axe, Pax, and Max, the varlet. Cacodemon Diabolus, Aureus, Stregis, Tregende, Harpies, Gogmagogs, Lemures, and Lamii Tremende, Pluto, Proserpina, and the three-groined Cerberus, Sisyphone, Megara, Alecto, and Briareus, Hermaphrodites, Hercinelasons, Etons, Picorns, and Lestrigoni, Hobgoblin, Rawhead, and Bloody Bone. The ugly hags, bugbears, and hellhounds, and Hecate the nightmare.
No more. For God's love, you make my hair stare to hear these ghastly monsters.
But to come to the point, what think you of my case?
Though it be out of joint, yet take you no discomfort. I will bring a ready answer, and assured help unto you when I talk with my familiar. The while do you take a green hazel wand and thwite it foursquare. On the one side must stand this verse. Al pupupen cabas, tot habat ninas, quod habat gras, then galbes, galbat, galdes, galdat. Fair written as you can. On the side under that write your own name, and then on the third side these words. Irione, Cicciore, Daris, Geraris, Asteraris, and with it jointly this verse, Ox, Tridens, Rostris, Sphinx, Presta, Torrida, Sepsis, Strix. On the fourth side set you down the name of some friend, as one of these gentlemen, that done in the end in some secret close chamber, make a fire. Then thus do. First, slend this square stick lengthwise into two, then each in other two. Then each of you throw 2 lengths into the fire.
All the other points I trow, I will bear well in mind. But these hard names I cannot.
I'll give you them written, that they be not forgot. And while they are burning on your knees, you must fall till they be consumed. Speaking these words withal, to limbo lakes ye hellish hags begone, to Styx, to Cocytus, to Acheron and Phlegethon. Dare you venture to do it?
Must we do it here within?
No, not there, for those sprites will not suffer you to begin, but will let you all they can.
Then I pray you, Cantalupus, will you help me to do it within in your house?
I am very well content.
Well, shall we play sure and put it out of debt, that boldly you may dare to do that I bid you, though the sprites do their worst?
Yea, I pray you.
Kneel down then, and though they would burst for anger, yet shall they want power to come nigh. After this conjuration, it shall bind them so mightily. Miastor, Agnipias, Antergos, Dolicostios, Diogistis, Cantilios, Prismodus, in Florx Paraxcos. Phrenomisis, Georos, Aphoron, Lycnos, Phalacros, Paracros, Sapros, Hypnolos, Phalargos, Vos Claudio, and Hic Circulo, Constringio, and Vincio, Vos Argo, and Clepo, Obiergo, Ibio, Imperio, as omnes demones a Satana, Osque ad Sarabor, I conjure and bind you, be you leaf or loath, that you touch not these gentlemen, nor once come in place, nor the hardest of you once dare to show his face, to hinder or trouble them until they have done. Now fear not, you are safe the while I will run, to speak with my familiar.
But where should you be found?
If I tarry somewhat long, your man can come round to my study, send for me, I will come at a trice.
Then go we about it.
I will go and give advice of this matter to Formosus and bring him where you are.
Well done, Master Doctor. Let me crave to know your name.
My name is Nostradamus.
I have heard of your fame, the great skill in astronomy a great while agone. You are of Napus race?
I am one of that faction.
Oh, how famous is that race, and excellent in astronomy and the art of black magic.
Be you sure, we are as privy with devils and with sprites as the brethren of St. Paul. Here in Italy can skill by a gift supernatural of serpents and poisons and mad dogs and such gear.
Let us go about our business.
Do you so, and have no fear. I warrant you it will fall out very well.
And exit the old men.
So they're gone. They are sped, I can tell, of their errand, all three. I hope to find some dog trick, my cunning do not fail me, for his daughter that is sick. Good God, who had thought there'd been of such simplicity? I count it no great mastery to blind and blear their eye. My cunning is current with such babes as these be. But beyond comes a diamond. I wonder what is she?
And we'll pause before the entrance of the said diamond, who again does not seem to actually interact with Trappola at all. Okay. I think we can take it as read that there's a lot of really good fun stuff in there. There's a lot of stuff. There's a question of how much business goes with some of this material, how the pacing works. I think we've got some of the obvious jokes that leap across the centuries at us. The three-groined Cerberus is by far the most terrifying of beasts. That's just wonderfully wrong.
Three-legged dog with
yeah.
It's not that scary, is it? Really, hopping along.
Yeah. Yes. So we've got lots of things. There is a question I sort of just wrote down in my notes are just how many really clever gags are there in this that we're probably not getting, that are really clever puns or things that will just I'm not asking anyone in the room to necessarily come up with any answers there, but there's some stuff that feels very, very accurate, and then it's really nice that Trappola just and some other gear. He clearly runs out of steam. He sort of remembers some stuff and then goes off on a tangent, and it's really nice. So thoughts on the room on that sort of tour de force sequence. Lynn first.
Boy, I do not envy the actor playing Trappola. I mean, having to memorize all that nonsense, and I don't know if the Latin's even really Latin, but just list demons' names. Ooh, that's a memorization nightmare.
But it's a part to kill for.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What a joy.
Yeah. I'll go to Alan, Aliki, and then other people as hands appear.
I would actually go counter to Lynn's suggestion there. The ones I feel sorry for are the others who are in the same scene, because effectively Trappola can just go off on one in any direction he likes. You've got the basic form there, but I very much doubt the wording would be the same two performances on the trot. And it would just be blah, 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 blah. It all sounds impressive, as much business as he feels he can get away with. And hopefully remembering the cue lines to bring the other people in.
Well, it's interesting how Trappola controls the scene at times. So, kneel down then, and then he does a list. And it's the question of, does he pause? Everyone starts getting up. No, and he keeps going again. Yeah. And so there's all these games that can be played with that. Aliki, then Lynn, then Francis.
So I'm fascinated by this mix of epithets, which are some ancient Greek, a little bit cod Italian, and then just a lot of quite English ones. Rawhead and Bloody Bone the Ugly, and Robin Goodfellow. And I wonder how much of the Greek the writer knew, because some of the Greek ones are very funny. Phalakros, for example, is bald. Don't know. I enjoy it. It's great.
And that's the question also when we're talking about which author is, is it from which element of this the transmission is that joke coming from as well, or whether it's just been translated, or whether the English or side of it has got it in there, or whether it's in the Italian original, or whichever particular original bit this bit is from. So there's all sorts of things there. Lynn, Francis, then Alexandra.
Yeah, I was struck by your pointing out that he keeps having them kneel and stuff like that. And I think a lot of physical comedy could make this even funnier. He's throwing magic dust around, or he's got these big sleeves and he keeps twirling around or whapping people with his sleeves. And remember, the guys are old, so kneeling may be a bit of a trial for them. It's like, okay, get up. Oh no, get down on my knees. So, here we are torturing the old guys again.
Yeah, lots and lots and lots
Lynn
of
is feeling sorry for our old man protagonists.
I'm relating on a really deep level.
Yeah, I still have a very bad knee from a production I did a lot of kneeling in, and I was young at the time, so that's a thing. Francis.
Yeah, I really enjoyed, as Cantalupo, reacting off Trappola's text, and I loved Cantalupo's increasingly quaking responses to these litanies. I thought it was very enjoyably structured, the scene. Yeah, I was sitting there thinking, God, I'd love to do this on stage. See where we could go with it.
Yeah, it's one where you want an active performance tradition, because you think if someone had been performing this regularly, the amount of accrued business that this scene would have built up over the years.
Yeah.
I particularly like, also in support, Biondello's line, "Ye have heard nothing yet," which leaps out as being so modern. You ain't heard nothing yet. It's just absolutely fine.
I can see our astrologer, the Trappy, whatever he's called.
Trappola,
I can see him pulling a face at that.
Yeah. He's like going, well, it's either of delight or just you want more. Oh God, what else do I have to pull out now? Nostradamus, of course, always nice to get a name check.
Yeah.
Someone everybody knows. Alexandra.
Yes, so I got the impression that, and then I thought that can actually, that's one way of not having to memorize it. I got the impression he's just reading off the index list of a demonology treatise. He's basically just name checking all of the, and it seems to be happening in kind of categorical order. So there's a section where he's listing different kinds of sort of monsters, Cacodemon Diabolus, that section, and then suddenly he's on to Pluto and Proserpina and the sort of creatures related to Greek hell and the three fates, and later on he's all about the rivers of Hades, and so it feels as though this is just kind of all the like a treatise on demonology or something like that, where he's basically just gone, right, I'm just going to read all the things with a capital letter and pretend I know what this is about. But then, very interestingly, the invocation at the end does make sense. The once he's named a bunch of people, when he's saying in Latin, I bring you into this circle and I constrain you and I demand things and all of that, and then he turns into English and continues. So I wonder whether some of this or much of it or possibly all of it could be taken seriously. Like we're having fun, we're making fun of the old men because they're old and that's always funny, but oh gosh, what he's doing there is actual magic, or potentially believable as such.
And it is at the end of the scene as well. So, you know, if you and it might be a case of if he's been pushing the funny too far, that maybe actually to close on a serious thing, so that, you know, the magic spell he's supposed to be doing lands. That's quite important to his mission, actually. You know, having fun is part of it, but they do have a job to do in terms of scaring and unscaring people. Helen.
Yes, I mean, the entire point of this is to get them out of the house and into another house so that the guy with the key can get at the strongbox.
Yeah. So it's all part of a. I mean, the other way of looking at this, we've talked about this as sort of farces and things, but, you know, this is a heist movie. At this, you know, this is part of the heist, and in fact, one of the delights of a heist movie is always the setup. So maybe we should. That's a way of thinking about some of those opening exposition-y bits of this is the plan before we do the heist, and that's what we get here. I do mean to move us forward, as we haven't quite finished Act 3. We're heading towards a song we do have music for, but that's not what this session is all about. We will plan to do something more detailed on songs in the future, because when we have them, it's nice to look at them. So hopefully everybody exits apart from Trappola, who says that some people are coming on stage, which is really helpful, and those people are Iphigenia and the as of yet unspeaking Catella, who gets some lines.
I think my journey well bestowed for the ease of my poor heart, which ready was right now to break, oppressed with deadly smart. I see it is not good to be suspicious overmuch. They breed their bane and hatch their harm, whose frightful fears are such. I thought Formosus went about to rob me of my fear. Alas, such thought unto his heart, God wot, was nothing near. My jealous fear engendered had such hate within my head, that undeserved 1,000 times I wished to see him dead. Yet who so busily seeks as he to gain me my desire? Who fears my heart, who loathes my loss, who fries in equal fire? But he whom as without all cause I hated heretofore, so now good cause compelleth me to love so much the more. Thus can the heavens roll and turn, thus nothing stands at stay. Thus done our thoughts, our hopes and haps, both chop and change away. And when from ill they turn to well, that chance must needs be good, and such good chance hath chanced me, whose case before so stood, that I in gulf of deep despair, in danger to be lost, so piteously in waves of woe my baleful bark was tossed. In haven of good hope now ride, and safe at anchor lie, through good Formosus' friendly faith, which him most true doth try. For lo, Catella, but erewhile I feared lest he would take my father's offer that he made, and Rosamond forsake, to whom I know he plighted hath his faith and truth of yore, whose case if he should cast her off did grieve me very sore. So much the more that for my case and hers did lump in one, for had she lost Formosus, then Manutius had been gone. So both had lost our chiefest joys, but now it is not so. He will be hers, that other mine, whoever shall say no.
And may you write upon his words,
with oaths when they are bound.
In perjured lovers, oaths and words, oft times like truth is found.
If oaths serve not, then what will serve?
Have heard that God on high doth laugh when lovers break their vows, and from there faith doth fly.
Oh, yet I have better hope of him.
I joy to hear you sing that song. Methought you'n harped before upon too bad a string, how if your fathers will you force?
So fair a plot is laid to win our fathers to our wills. We need not be afraid.
I wish it hap as you would have. But gladly would I learn that plot. You mean something therein perhaps I could deserve.
Oh, it is too long to tell it now. This day or night shall try what faith within Formosus words and constant truth doth lie. Meantime, with cheerful song I will essay to joy my chance to sing old care away.
And we have the song, and Iphigenia does not have to sing it, you just have to say it, it's fine.
Lend me, you lovers, all your pleasant lovely lays. Come, come with me, rejoice, come, come, give Lady Fortune praise. For she it is that doth my state advance. She hath turned my bale to bliss, my cheeks to cheerful chance, and therefore away care, away, away hence care, away, away, hence away, away, and be gone care. My sour is turned to sweet, my piteous plaints to play, my clouds of care to comfort clear, my night to brightest day, my fears to hopes, my tears to truce, my want to wished wealth. My war is turned to quiet peace, my sickness unto health, and therefore away care, away, away, hence care, away, away, hence away, away, and be gone care. Minutius is the man whose love hath lent me life, for now in spite of all despite, I hope to be his wife, and thus with delight I say, all care away to drive. I live and love, I like my luck, and long in love to live. And therefore away care, away, away, hence care, away, away, hence away, away, and be gone care.
So maybe care should go away. Maybe just go away. That'll be good. Away, away, and hence, and away. Yeah, we suddenly get this very different verse structure, and it's like suddenly we are all in a slightly different play, and it seems deliberate. It seems like there is a definite all the things stuff going on here, and yeah, it's very different, very interesting, as a little coda to the act. I don't know whether there are breaks between acts or that's intended or not. Who knows?
The songs seem to come at the beginning of each act.
Yeah, as a bridge.
Yeah.
Either the beginning or the end, because in fact, Act 3 was bookended with songs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yes, but there's a little problem about where the acts begin and end.
Yeah.
So it could be that.
All sorts of possibilities. In our production so far, that's where it lives. And yeah, it's I think as a song actually those lyrics work rather well. I mean, the repetition is needed in songs. When you do it as prose, it does tend to go, oh good, you're saying that bit again. But in a song context, I think those lyrics actually rather affecting. Actually, I think there's some really nice elements. Thoughts on the room, Lois?
Yeah, I'm sure I've seen the phrase "cast away care" quoted as if it were a song or something. I wonder if this is the same song with slightly different words.
Perhaps that's how it contributes to its survival as well. I don't know the context of the actual musical survival to this, so that might be part of it. Lynn?
Yeah, I agree with Helen that away, hence and away care. It sounds like maybe it's a ballad of the period that's been adapted slightly for this. But what I was going to say is I have to tell you, I laughed out loud at the part where Iphigenia says, oh, we've got this great plot, and Catella says, tell me about it. She's like, it would take too long.
Yeah.
It is too long to tell it now. Yeah.
Too complicated. It'll work out. Just wait and see. I laughed.
Yeah, it's too long to tell. Shall we sing a song? Yes.
It made me slightly suspicious of Catella. Why does she want to know?
Plot device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two characters explain the plot to each other.
Structurally, isn't this my position in the play to ask you questions? Isn't that my entire function, is to do that? Any additional thoughts before we career into Act 4?
I think we had decided, hadn't we, that she's a bit of a wet fish, Iphigenia.
Yeah.
Anyone
She's one of
speaking
the
in
wet-
14ers? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we
Not as bad as
decided
her
that
young
there was a
man.
brave couple and a wet fish couple, and she's one of the wet fish couple.
I think she's more energetic than her young man. I mean, she's fairly enterprising. Even in their earlier scene, I think she had some ideas, and all he could think of was committing suicide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alan.
In fact, I just had a quick check, and I think it's the only point that we actually hear from either of those two. They're referred to elsewhere, but I don't think they get any other speeches.
If did speak earlier, she got a scene, but
Yeah.
it is the only time Catella, I think, speaks.
Yes,
if gets two
Iphigenia
scenes.
speaks earlier, but
Yeah.
not after.
Yeah. Well, who knows? We you know, the room has the audience has no idea who's going to come back or reappear. So I'm sure they're all going to have incredibly central parts to the narrative coming up. But yes, they have been relative. Again, we've got certain characters who are coming in just to sort of bridge between scenes. So we have these sort of speechy sort of breaks coming in, and that sort of seems to be what primarily this is actually a bit of a break lead into a song, change the act. Quality, I might be being unfair to it. Fight me if you think that is not the case. I'm not that wedded to the thought. Okay, let's move on to Act 4. Yes, we have a scene with Tomasine and Biondello. So, Act 4, Scene 1.
You shall know what I can know. If you will be of good cheer, I will do my diligence. What hath happened then to hear? Rosamunda sends me forth to hearken for the astronomer, and whether he hath wrought his feat. An end of this gear the poor wretch would hear. And yonder is Biondello. How goeth this gear forward?
How goeth it as it should go?
Oh, now thanked be God. Tell me some piece of news to carry Rosamunda, that doth naught but lie and muse in her dumps on this matter, and consumeth away as the salt in the water or the snow in summer's day.
Even as we could wish, all hath happed hitherto. The astronomer hath done as we would have him do. He played his pageant finely.
The astronomer? What is he?
A fellow for the purpose as fit may be, a merchant stranger's servant, an acquaintance of mine, whose master hath been but a while yet in Florentine. But I knew his man's qualicumes when we dwelt both in Venice. Go tell Rosamunda that I am sure by this the 3,000 crowns are where they should be, even in Formosus' hands.
Oh, what news thou dost tell me.
Erewhile they were disguised in the chamber of Camillus, from whence by a window in the top of the house they are got into our cockloft, and from thence into the chamber, and have rifled and moused the coffer that stands there, by a false key they made. Oh, how horribly they are clad, with visors like devils, what sort of lights they had, what sort of squibs and fireworks, and of rosin pounded fine.
Who are those so disguised?
Shall I tell thee, my Tomasine? First Formosus and Camillus, and his man Picinino. Then the aforesaid astronomer, and Manutius, and no more. But I gat me forth, and if these old lads came, I might find them a tittle-tattle while their practice did frame. But now let them come when they lust.
Lo, where they be? Canst feed them with honey sops?
Tut, care not for me.
Then will I return to Rosamunda with these news. See that thou in these matters good discretion do use.
And exit Tomasine.
I will stand ashore a little and hear my babes talking.
So Biondello still on stage, but in some place where they can listen to the entering antics of Amadeus, Brancatius, Cantalupo, and say Biondello's somewhere upstage, probably, something along those lines.
I marvel hereabouts. I can see no man walking. I doubt we stayed too long, and the Dr. Nostradamus hath been here and gone again because he missed of us.
Ah, he will not deceive us, I trow.
I pray you stay this talk, for by learning he can tell what we do say, yea, and what we do think.
If I shall my judgment tell, I promise you both, I like his talk well.
Methinks it were wisdom, sith that we have done what he bade us to do, and that it draws to noon to get us to dinner.
How will I appear in sight?
This matter sits nearer than to have my dinner dight. Perhaps he is within the house with Formosus, and there sitteth waiting and tarrying for us.
God save you all three.
Where is Dr. Nostradamus?
I left him with Formosus. 'Tis a good while ago. They will be here straight.
Yet better it were to get us into the house and to tarry for him there, sitting cold close by the fire, than to stay in the cold. I pray you two most heartily that you would take part of my dinner.
Content is agreed.
I had thought to go home.
Nay, the matter is decreed. Hold the key here, Biondello. Go in and make a fire. Oh, good Lord, in my heart, what a marvellous desire, and a surpassing longing on the southern is bred, to have my wretched house of these vile sprites unencumbered, and to see this cunning man bring this piece of work to pass. These fiends do so vex my stomach.
And having exited, re-enter Biondello.
Oh, master! Oh, master! Help! Help! I die!
What's the matter?
What aileth thee? Wherefore dost thou cry?
Oh, our house is all on fire!
On fire? God forbid!
It is full of sprites.
Alas, what hath betid? Oh, tell me, what sprites or fire sawest thou there?
Let me breathe a while. I am almost dead for fear.
I see no smoke appear.
Tell me, what didst thou see?
Such a number of lights. I thought myself to be in paradise, there in your chamber above.
Why? What madest thou there?
Well, I went to remove a block at the stairs, and drawing somewhat near, I saw the door wide open, and such a light appear that I cannot express it. But sure I do doubt lest the sudden flashing of it will put my eyes out.
Sawest thou any man within?
Shall I tell you true? I was in so great a fear, I may say to you, as one quite astonished, and my eyes so dazzled, that I saw naught but light. So sore I was amazed.
Some bugbear or pickhorn or Gog Magog is there.
Perhaps the sun shone in, and this bug cried out for fear.
Indeed, it may be so, for the cow is sore afraid of every little thing.
If it be not as I said, and that you think I lie, go yourselves thither hardly, and then you may perhaps prove bugs as well as I.
I pray you, let us go.
If Brancatius will go too, I dare then be hardy to do as you two do.
Content, go before.
Nay, you shall lead the way.
Nay, in faith, it shall be yours.
I will not go today, except you go first.
You are the owner of the house.
In this case, be you owner.
You are nothing courageous. Methink you are afraid I will not go at all.
And methink you are afraid.
Whatever befall, let us in all at once and hold hands together.
Exeunt all except Biondello.
God send you good shipping. At their return hither, they will sing another song, if they keep their breeches clean at this feast. I much marvel these babies do mean to prove me a liar, but the end maketh all, they will prove themselves jades. Hark, hark, I hear them call.
We're going to pause before the chaos ensues, but we've got the setup. It's going very nicely. It's always nice to get the title in, and to really get the title clearly now in mind of the audience what it means. We did have some calling to Bugbears earlier, but here, the idea that this haunting is the central focus of that meaning. And that's it's nice. It's always nice to get the title into the show at some point, isn't it? So someone can just take one step forward to the audience and go, Bugbears, just nice and subtly. I really like the dynamism to this of all this stuff. If you go first, no, you go first. Your house, Alan.
After you, Claude. No, after you, Cecil.
Thoughts in the room. Obviously, this was sort of a cascading scene. We go from the chattage with Tomasine, who exits, and then Biondello listening to the other people chatting. Helen.
As well as the balconage along the at least 3 houses, maybe 4. For people to appear when they're being described in Act 1, in Scene 1. I think we also possibly need some sort of upper walkway on the roofs of the house so that we can actually see people in their vizards with their fireworks and things climbing over and climbing back. I think it's a great, I know we've got a good description of it, but it would be very nice for the audience to see it actually happening.
Yeah, I think yes. There's lots of staging options here to give that. I concur, wholly. Other thoughts, Aliki?
It's nice to see the 3 old men becoming more differentiated. Cantalupo is more nervous. He might be listening to us with magic. And Brancatius is more skeptical. I see no smoke appear. And Amedeus just cares about his money.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's I always like it when I know it's very childish of me, but if they keep their britches clean at this feast, we're just hoping that they're going to shit themselves. That's the sole hope of this particular scene, isn't it? Okay, chaos is incurring, so we have the re-entrance here, lots of chaos, lots of shared lines. Re-enter Amadeus, Cantalupo, and Brancatius.
Oh, good Lord!
Out, alas!
Oh, geez, you help me now.
Christ have mercy upon me.
How goeth the world with you?
I'm dead!
I'm slain.
I told you, did not I?
Oh, my soul is departed.
How say you, did I lie? Nay, be not afraid, they have shut fast the door.
This is a double mockery.
Oh, there was a piteous stir.
Oh, sirs, I am undone. Thou toldst me true, Biondello.
Oh, that we had had believed thee. What time thou told us so. In all my whole life, I never felt like fear.
Believe me another time then when I tell you of the bugbear. But why, ran they after you?
A vengeance on them all.
Yea, a double very vengeance.
When we came into the hall, we saw a sudden light in my chamber.
It seemed to me like hell mouth wide open, or worse, if worse there may be. And the sprites did leap up and dance and ran upon us, and we took us to our heels.
Oh, the case was jeopardicious. Our legs served us well.
Yea, unto the very door, the carrions did pursue us. Thou sawest thyself how far, and shut the door unto them, and locked us quite out.
They saw me not within, nor I them.
'Twas a doubt, lest they had been devoured, if they had set sight on thee.
Ye and we 'scaped very fair. Oh, what ugly beasts they be. Did you mark, Amadeus, how goffishly they did dance?
So they fared 2 nights before.
It may be perchance they keep some wedding there.
Amadeus, the devil to wed a wife?
Sorry, I thought that was not my line. The devil to wed a wife, that a vengeance gnaw his guts. I'd rather than my life Master Doctor would come.
Will you go for the officer?
I thought on that device.
Your matches saw I never. How shall officers deal, I pray you, with the devil?
What then wouldst thou have me do?
In my mind, it were no evil to stay for Master Doctor. He will send the rascals packing. You shall see when he cometh.
I would gladly see that thing.
When the devil will he come?
In diebus illis.
He will not tarry long.
The while, my counsel is that you go and dine with me, and your man stay at the house till the doctor do come, and bring him thither to us.
Methinks he speaketh well.
Then let us even do so. Hear'st thou? When he cometh, bring him straight to Brancatius.
Very well, it shall be done.
I must part from you two a while about the matter. That needs I must go do, but I will not be long from you.
And exeunt the old men.
I think they knew our mind to take the way they do, but their absence we shall find a good leisure to determine what further must be done, and to finish that remaineth. It is now about high, and yet these mates come not. I am sure they are undressed, whatever they stay upon. I'll go for them, it is best, and make them haste. But see where they are.
And indeed, we have another entrance joining the scene. These scenes are now getting much faster paced. People are joining scenes, and scenes are interlacing rather than people announcing the next scene and exiting. Yeah, lots of really nice stuff. I really do like Cantalupo's last line there. You know, I must part from you two a while about a matter. You know, it's yeah, he can't think of a particularly good excuse why he can get away, but you know, that's good enough, that little fig leaf excuse. Yeah, I've just written lots of exclamation marks in my script. It's just and stuff. Yeah, good fun. Any thoughts on that? Lois.
Yes, I've noticed that Brancatius was mainly interested in his dinner. I mean, he suggested earlier they should go and eat, and he suggested again now. I think that's the thing he's most worried about.
Yeah, series of different appetites. We've got greed, we've got hunger, gluttony,
Yeah.
and getting little hints.
Lust, don't forget lust.
Lot of lust. Lot of that about.
Trepidation.
Yeah, and it's quite a spectacle. Quite a spectacle was described there. Alan.
Yeah, sorry I missed that line, but on the copy of the script I got, that was before the speech definition.
Oh.
Somehow.
Oh well. No, I'm making a note just in case. Okay. Any other thoughts, Alexandra?
You mentioned this before the scene started, how there are shared lines, and great work everybody doing that. But it's amazing to me just how practically every line in this scene starts in the middle. So it really speaks to how dynamic this needs to be as a scene. But also it's really I think it's really interesting craftsmanship that would be really nice to explore, kind of, in a contained sense in a workshop or something, because there's the physical stuff that gets suggested, there's the stuff that gets described that could also be presented, but also the way in which the text kind of is constructed also lends itself, kind of gives us a lot of direction in general, but in particular in this case. So yeah, I think I'm finding that fascinating.
Yes, I mean, we spent a reasonable amount of time reading this, but actually, this scene overall is probably incredibly short because it moves at has to move at a massive lick. And so, yeah, the way different scenes are paced as well, because, before this sequence, what did we have? We had people entering on doing 14ers and doing something slightly more, perhaps more sedate, maybe not, followed by a song, and then it's all action all the way, and it's really nice. Playing around with gears, and of course we're still in the middle of the scene. The scene's sort of just cascading into other action. Alan.
Yeah, I must admit, the way I saw that, I could almost see the Marx Brothers. It's that same sort of chase crosstalk trope, which has been proven to work for millennia in comedy.
And it is an interesting question. Lynn's brought this up a few times about this is making a mockery of age. And originally presumably performed by much younger actors. I mean, from the options we've got suggested, they're either actual children or very young adults. So, this mockery of age can be very physically done. In ways that might be actively dangerous, if depending on. That said, I have vivid memories of Eric Sykes when he was very old, very blind, and very deaf, doing physical comedy on stage, which would terrify the hell out of me. So it's options for all. So we will continue this sequence because it carries on a little bit more before it breaks. So. We had the exit of most of all the old men. Biondello is still on stage, and he is joined by Formosus and Trappola.
We stayed, I doubt, too long.
Time enough. Take no care.
Biondello, where's my father?
At dinner with Brancatius. Now, sure, I must commend your handling of it thus. Oh, it was old excellent. But who were those twain that came to the door? They made them gad amain and stir their old stumps at that grisly, fearful sight. I am sure they were never in so pitiful a plight.
'Twas Camillus and his man, and Minutius was there too.
I marked but only twain, but what did you do?
The while in the chamber, I and Trappola did practice with squibs and fireworks. That same was our office, and to tend up the candles, having brought to that frame, we took the bags of money and returned the way we came.
It was very well handled. And where are the rest?
They've set all things in order and are gone to be undressed.
I saw your candles stick round in every place, and those panes full of holes give the thing a gallant grace, when the fire flamed within them. And those squibs were very brave, and the herds and aquavitae, and the flames that it gave was greenish, pale and dim, and terrible to behold. But why burn we daylight? Now we have got the gold, let us make up their mouths and finish up this gear. But where is the money?
Be bold, it is there, in Camillus' house.
Then spend no time in waste, but send for Brancatius' brother in post-haste to come and speak with you.
Whom might I send thither?
Camillus' man can bring him to you hither.
Then I'll make his master send him. Now this gear is set abroach, and that the good hour and good end doth approach. Now, Trappola, ply the box.
Even as I've begun.
I ask no better than already thou hast done. Farewell. I'll go send for my sweetheart's uncle straight.
Exit Formosus.
Now, my doctor, let us go where these old lads do bait. We will cut out our shares and make our dinner there. For there we are looked for. Thus far forth, I like this gear.
Thou hast seen nothing yet, to that thou shalt see. For yet it lies and bleeds. But I hope to bestir me. Thou shalt see in what sort.
I do hope thou wilt do so. But lest we lose our dinner, it is best that we go and visit yonder fathers, for I am sharp set now.
And I, for my part, of as keen an edge as thou.
And they exit, and that's the end of that little sequence. We're not quite at the end of the act yet. You get the impression that people taking off masks as they come on, or putting out whatever fire items of clothing they've accidentally set on fire. All those little descriptors there. And make sure the gold's secure. Secure the gold. It's quite important that. Make sure it's safe. Where's the gold? You got the gold? Good. Any additional thoughts on that one? Helen?
The servants are always very, very keen, and the lesser status characters are always very keen not to miss out on their dinner or whatever's going.
Yeah, and it was quite a production, obviously, for all the stuff we didn't see. How they set up the fire flaming, and the green and pale, greenish pale and dim. They've really worked hard to make this genuinely quite terrifying. That they might have set fire to the house is a minor thought. Okay, we're going to move into the sort of bridge scene, I think we can call it, as everybody gets their breath back, because for I think the third time now, it's Picinino. Has Picinino managed to get any sleep?
I think, sure, my toil will never be done. There is nothing with my master but pack, trudge, hie thee, run. I was going to my bed to fetch out my lost sleep, when suddenly he did call me, and such a coil did keep that needs I must up. It booteth not to lie and lurge my weary bones when he doth gabble and cry, for fear of afterclaps. Oh. But whither must I go? I've clean forgot his name. He hunted at me so. I see haste makes waste, for my master so hasted that he drave both the place and the man out of my head. Now a wild onion on it. Again. Donatus. Donatus? I would he were flaying. 'Tis Donatus with a vengeance that must come to Formosus, canti vanti, in post haste. And best I stand not thus, and trifle out the time, and tell a tale to the wind, but wind me straight about it while 'tis fresh in my mind, lest again I forget it to Donatus. To Donatus, now I have him, I will hold him. But yond comes Cantalupus.
And exit, and in answer to the question, did he get any sleep? No. This constant running gag of just basically... Every time I try and have a nap, someone asks me to do something. I'm tired. And he's this thing. Remember the thing that I need to do. Remember it. Again, there's lots of nice little business that's available there that I really like. And again, announcing who's coming on next. Almost need a microphone at the side of the stage. And coming on stage next, here comes Cantalupus with his friend. We had a cantivanti. I've just seen someone putting that, along with the hottie totty.
There are a lot of rhymes. In the first session, there was a whole slew of them, one right after the other.
Yeah, obviously enjoys that kind of wordplay and that kind of dynamic game. Okay, we've got one more scene of the session and the final scene of Act 4. So we not only do we have Cantalupo or Cantalupus, but also we have the return of Squartacantino. So they enter presumably together.
Is the wind in that door, or speakest it but in play?
I tell you in good sooth, as I heard Biondello say.
When told he thee so?
When you sent me for the civet and musk, even now in the street with him I met.
Did he tell thee, my darling, my Rosamond was with child?
He said she had her errand, that she was not beguiled.
Then if I have the cow, I must have the calf too.
Yeah, and the horns withal.
Oh God, should I do?
What else but have her? She is best for your diet. I would have her, and it were but to bring me out of quiet. You cannot lose by her.
Is that thy best advice?
She is best for you now, methinks, if you be wise. For now you can have her double with the advantage. That is 2 for 1. Is not that a gainful marriage? Besides, you be sure she will not be barren. Yea, and further, whoever it was that took the pain, let him lose his labour, and you take the child, so you are sure to gain, and he to be beguiled.
I know not what to do, for I cannot remove so soon from my heart my former fixed love.
No marvel, sith she is a lovely, loving lass. It was love in a cloak bag that brought this feat to pass.
On the other side, the danger is terrible if I have her.
What danger? Of a poor home invisible? Tut, no man shall see it, nor you yourself shall feel it. That we see not, nor feel not, cannot grieve us a whit.
Methinks. Still, on end, it should not be true.
Hope well, and have well, a good faith shall save you.
Who so saint-like who so saint-like as she?
Young saint and old devil.
Nowadays men are given to suspect and then think evil. Art sure he did tell thee, or didst thou mishearken?
I am sure he did tell me, again and again.
How heardst it?
With mine ears, it was not with mine elbows.
I am sure that the varlet telleth more than he knows. He might hear a lie.
Then for a lie take it. I promise you, sir, I heard it. I did not make it.
That Rosamond is with child.
Her belly doth swell. Perhaps she hath at ratsbane.
With child?
I cannot tell what you call being with child. She hath trod her slipper awry. Someone or other looked babies in her eye. She hath played false at tables, and burn a man too many. The tailor hath curtailed her clothes too short before. She hath fallen upon feathers, and hath bruised her very sore. She hath stolen her mother's apron. She is stung with a lizard. She breedeth young bones. The terms of that art I cannot well skill of, but in plain words he did say flatly she was with child. That was his tale today.
Did he say my Rosamunda? There are more of that name.
No, he said not your Rosamunda, but he meant the very same, that you would have her to be yours. Marry, whether yours she be, or his that did the feat, I would have yourself tell me.
What, the daughter of Brancatius?
Nay, I'm not so cunning. Peradventure Brancatius himself knows not that thing, but her for whose nursing Brancatius did pay.
I will straight get me thither, to see whether he did say the sooth or did lie.
If you do so, take heed that you move in the matter no more words than need. Little said, soon amended. The truth you shall best try, if you hear and see and say naught, but look about and pry, and covertly demean you, else abroiled shall you steer, and the truth shall be smothered, and you never the near.
As I try, so will I trust. Go get home the while, and look to the house. If they think to beguile or give me such a gleek, they must arise early.
And exit Cantalupo.
He is gone. Fare thee well. For this matter, what care I whether it be true or false? Perhaps the sly Biondello, to help Formosus to her, would have us ween 'tis so, and so would I too, for if he once marry a young wife, then farewell to his former liberality. She will make him spare and pinch. New broom, clean work doth make, and all is too little for her. She will be good with a rake. Then my thrift is laid on soak. On the other side, Manutius may have our Iphigenia, if Rosamond have Formosus. Those matches are meeter. And so it shall be, if my master will be ruled and persuaded by me.
Exit. Oh, wasn't that fun? I mean, so many really good bits. I particularly like Squartacantino's attempt to suggest that having a pregnant wife at the beginning of the marriage is great. You get 2 for 1. It's a marriage bog off offer. Buy one get one free, and there's a certain logic to that. I particularly like how Heardst it with mine ears. It was not with mine elbows. That I think is a rather fabulous one. And then we just get this game of how many different ways can you tell this man that is betrothed is pregnant, and it's just the list just keeps going on. It's so good.
Yeah.
Anyone?
None of which the guy said, because what he actually said was she's with child.
Yeah, and it's just he's dead. Everybody's dead. Everybody's dead. Dave, she's pregnant. She's pregnant. She's pregnant. And he just doesn't want to believe it. Just doesn't want to know.
It's the dead parrot sketch.
Yes. 400 years in advance. This play is so far ahead of its time.
Sorry,
Nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
Yeah, played false at tables. Ornament too many, know what I mean?
Yeah, nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Nudge,
Say
nudge.
no more.
She have trod her slippery awry.
Down the mother's apron, know what I mean?
Played false at tables.
And can I say how wonderful she hath fallen upon feathers and hath bruised her very sore.
Yes.
Oh, mwah.
I quite like she have stolen her mother's apron. Stung with a lizard. It's just such a great speech. Yeah. So that I'm very, very, very happy with that one. That's going on the list. This is just I'm just putting a big box around the whole scene. Good. That's going in something. Yeah. Okay. Additional. I mean, apart from just praise, any additional thoughts about that scene, Francis?
Yeah, there's something very adolescent about the way Cantalupo is trying to sort of find reasons why she isn't pregnant, and that he hasn't been cuckolded. Perhaps it's not my Rosamunda. And are you sure he said she was pregnant? And perhaps it's a lie. It's very adolescent.
Lois.
Yeah, it's rather sad as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know altogether worry about the way the old characters are treated, but at this point, you do think he really is pathetic. I mean, he's just so fond of her, and he doesn't want to believe this.
Or he's just an idiot.
Well, yeah.
In which case, everything's fine.
Well, old men are idiots. I mean, taken for granted. Yeah.
Well, yeah. That seems to be where this play is pushing us. It doesn't seem to have much of a different take on life, does it?
I mean, to be fair to the playwright, as far as I can tell, all he's done is notice that she's gorgeous, and therefore he is madly in love with her and thinks that she's a saint. So, I'm not that worried about him.
It's a comedy, none of it's real.
Either she's gorgeous or her dad's well off.
I think in this case,
Well, he's not short of a few bob.
No, but that's never stopped any of the motivations either, has it?
No, that's true.
Wealth to wealth.
Yeah.
Okay, additional thoughts on this scene before we go into final thoughts for the play itself so far. I'll start with those who were here yesterday. The overall shape of the play is sort of coming into focus quite nicely now. We were talking about the sort of the amount of exposition we're getting the first time. It's quite interesting. The play does just keep little nuggets of exposition in, but nothing that feels too excessive. So how are we feeling about the shape of it? Disagree with me by all means if you wish. I'll start with Aliki. Aliki, how are you finding the play so far?
I'm enjoying it enormously. I did find all of the exposition a bit heavy going at the beginning because I wasn't sure quite who all of these people are. But now that they're coming into focus and running about and saying idiotic things and pulling tricks on each other, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I can see a production of this now very, very clearly in my mind's eye. I mean, you know, we know where the trims might live. We know the bits we need to sharpen in focus and make sure the company is clear on who they are and how they communicate who they are to the audience. And the sort of additional business we might need to throw in. We've brought that up a little bit this session as well. Helen, you've been talking a little about additional business. Final thoughts from you?
Well, my takeaway from today is that I'm just now realizing how much of the action is actually directed, pushed, and organized by the servants. It's Biondello is the center, but the other servants as well are very controlling and advising and very active. I mean, the nurse for the absent Rosamunda and the Cantino guy for the Cantalupo guy. I mean, the servants are the people who do the motivating, except for poor old Picinino, who is just being sent errands.
Yes, of all the servant characters, the only one who doesn't really have any agency in his life at all, does he?
No, but he will do when he grows up a bit. He'll find a master that he can totally dominate.
Right, he is little, isn't he? That's my impression as well.
Well, I think his name implies that he's tiny.
It is that thing of you know, the lower status you are, the more weirdly more control you have over your life and destiny. This play seems to present, or the destiny of others, perhaps. Maybe not your life, but you can control other people. It's quite interesting. Alexandra, you were not here yesterday, but how are you finding this play in this little isolated bursts?
Yeah, it's fantastic because I missed the beginning and I'm going to miss the end, and I'm just getting the weirdest, this sort of, but I'm loving it. I'm having a great time. I think there's some really interesting stuff in the way the text is constructed. I also think that the characterization gives a lot of opportunities. So, you know, we were talking about how clearly there's a lot of mocking of old age and of old men, but that, you know, there are ways in which we can be more sensitive to that as in a production, so that as a modern audience in a scene like this last one, you know, we're both going, isn't that funny, he's finding new ways of saying pregnant, and at the same time, isn't that sad, you know, the situation that Cantalupo is in, you know, where he is so willing to give her the benefit of the doubt and to not believe that she could possibly be anything other than saintly. That's a bit sad. And so, you know, this I think the potential to give us both comedy and pathos and to alternate and to play around with them offers a lot of dynamic possibility, not just in terms of the physical dynamics we've already talked about, but emotional dynamics as well.
Lynn, final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree about the pathos. Maybe not. I keep mentioning the fact that this play is really mean to the old people, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing or something that we need to worry too much about. The culture at the time was, I mean, what's the word, gerontocracy or something, that age was respected, age was a prestige marker. So this play punches up. So I'm not really too worried about that. You might be able to get a little pathos out of it just to vary the emotional texture. The one thing about this script that I don't love, although I'm really enjoying it, but I'm still a little frustrated with the fact that we can't make Rosamunda an on-stage character. I mean, I think Rob had a good point. You can't portray a pregnant woman on stage in this thing. That's just like, I mean, didn't you say something about that the fact that she's with child and beginning to show, you probably wouldn't want to do that in the 16th century? But I mean, that's just the one thing that sort of bothers me is, like, we have a woman's part, we have a an ingenue, and we never see her. There's an acting opportunity for a female actor that we're just not using. But that's my only gripe.
And certainly in terms of performance, I'd be looking at playing around with gender all over the shop anyway, or at least in performance, the performer side of things. So it is true that yes, we've got other plays that from earlier that seems to be the reason why they do it. Whether that's the reason why this play does it is another matter. I don't know whether it would be actually that much of an issue for the then current times to portray that, because they're capable of so many things. So it's a good question. I don't think we've hit a definite answer on it yet. Alan, final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean it's still moving on at a fair pace. I think there's room for a heck of a lot of physical business. And that means, particularly in the sources scene, and also the sequence where the 3 old boys go into the house and get scared witless. And I think the other thing is that I'm trying to remember back, but I think Commedia had this trope of basically taking the mickey out of the rich and powerful. And this one seems to be operating on a very similar level.
Excellent. Lois, final thoughts from you?
Yeah. Well, like everybody else, I find this very enjoyable. It's amazing how thoroughly it sort of derives from classical comedy. I mean, even the plot and the notion of the slaves, who are, I think, just servants here, but they apparently in classical comedy there was a clever slave and a stupid slave, and in this one we've got a whole lot of slaves or servants who are it'd be quite fun trying to differentiate them all. I mean, obviously Biondello was the cleverest one, though Trappola is a funny character because he doesn't appear to be a servant in the same way. It's not quite clear where he comes from. What's fun is just the way that whole plot of love interest, which is sort of forwarded by a clever servant, goes way on right to the Barber of Seville, really. I mean, it's such a popular theme, the people who have so little power and yet really are the clever ones and have it all. And you finally get it, of course, in the Marriage of Figaro, with Figaro becoming a spokesman for the working classes and having a really long, passionate speech about his life and how it's taken more brains just to exist than it's taken to govern the Spanish Indies.
Yeah, it's a testament really to the new comedy that as a structure it was built like a tank, and lasted millennia, it's and still lasts today and continues in modern sitcom. So yeah, the bones of this are very, very strong, got ancient traditions. And it's an interesting question about how big you perform it, whether you lean in on the things that followed, like Commedia and stuff like that, whether you go that far or whether the play actually doesn't want to quite go that far, and whether it has a certain relatively realistic mode to it or not, even though they do occasionally go into rhyming. So yeah, there's so much there. I'm going to go last two people who also have not been here for the all the sessions. Francis, how have you found the show so far, even though you're not going to catch any more of it?
Like everybody says, it's enormous fun, and I would love to play Cantalupo in a production. I would love to be in a production of this, because I think you'd have to, as you said, Rob, you'd have to cut a lot of stuff, I think. But there's the bare bones of a really terrific stage comedy here. I'd also be very interested to know what the source material for this play was, because going back to something Lois said, it feels very Italian. So I'm wondering if it is derived from some Italian play of the time.
So yes, it has three sources. It sort of has a primary base text, which is relatively contemporary Italian, but then it has bits going all the way back to Roman. It's got a bit of Terence in there, so it's not wholly a straightforward translation of an Italian play in that sense. But yeah, it's got so much in it, and let's be glad for small mercies. It is nowhere near as long as some of the translations of it other Italian plays, which could be quite excessive in their word count, as we will discover in the future. They're quite fun, but they are also quite long. Hopefully they whiz along at the speed that this one has. Finally, Stephen.
Well, yeah, I think Francis's point about this is a play about reactions, isn't it? This is what the drama of the 80s or 90s could have been if the poets hadn't got in and messed it all up for us. It's beautifully put together. It's very sharp verbally, but absolutely no showing off of the writer. It's got some great sort of set pieces, but they're there to do a job. And I think it's interesting. It makes me think the sort of the 80s and 90s and some of the aughts are kind of a blip. Whereas we're used to hearing of them as a kind of culmination of English drama. This seems to me to be much more sophisticated in the sense of it being theatre rather than drama. You could enjoy this without really listening very hard, I think. And so it's really, really interesting. If just as kind of theatre history hat, I suppose. Somebody's seen some really, really good performers and thought, what kind of scene would really give these people a chance to show what they can do? And it's like some kind of, it's kind of lost to us now, isn't it? But it's like some kind of universal comedy from the 1940s or something. The energy in it doesn't come from the page at all. It comes from how easy it is for us to imagine the action.
Yeah. I think that's an excellent place to end this particular session. It's the potential. All theatre scripts are filled with potential about how much they can be performed, and this one just sort of reeks of potential. And directions, the roads that could have been trod, and sometimes was, with gaps. So all that remains is to close this session. We've got one more session to go. We've got an Act 5 to do, and going to see how that goes. Some of us will be back for that, some of us will not. But all that remains is thank all the readers in the room, Helen, for helping present the text, and goodbye.
Bye.